The Amazon rainforest, a vast and unforgiving expanse of green, has captivated the imagination of adventurers for centuries. For Edmund Hillary, the renowned explorer and mountaineer, it was a challenge he couldn't resist. On July 14, 1971, he led his team of 6 men into the heart of this Brazilian jungle, driven by a thirst for discovery and a sense of duty. Hillary's reputation preceded him, and his team consisted of experienced explorers, each handpicked for their unique skills. There was Dr. José Luis, an anthropologist; Carlos, an expert in tropical medicine; Paulo, a skilled navigator; Pedro, a seasoned hunter; Luis, a local guide; and Claudio Marquez, the youngest member of the team, who had been chosen for his exceptional physical prowess. The initial days of the expedition were marked by optimism and excitement. The team pushed deeper into the jungle, driven by Hillary's vision of mapping the vast, uncharted territories of the Amazon. However, as they ventured further from civilization, the air grew thick with humidity, and the sounds of the rainforest became a cacophony of terror. But what happened next would change everything. On day 8 of their journey, Claudio Marquez suddenly vanished. His disappearance was met with panic, and a frantic search ensued. The team scoured the surrounding area, but there was no sign of him anywhere. As the hours ticked by, the reality began to sink in. Claudio Marquez had left his team, alone and uninvited, in the heart of the Brazilian jungle. The implications were dire. Hillary's team was now 6 men down, with limited supplies and a vast expanse of hostile terrain separating them from civilization. The once familiar sounds of the rainforest now seemed menacing, as if warning them that they had made a terrible mistake. As night began to fall on July 22, the team regrouped, trying to make sense of Claudio's disappearance. But what they didn't know was that their ordeal was only just beginning. Edmund Hillary's reputation as a fearless and accomplished explorer preceded him into the Brazilian jungle on that fateful day in July 1971. His team of 6 men, handpicked for their expertise in physical prowess, had been training for months to tackle one of the most treacherous regions on Earth, the depths of Brazil's Amazonas state. The expedition aimed to chart a new course through the dense foliage, mapping previously unexplored territories and documenting the region's unique ecosystems. As they ventured deeper into the jungle, the team encountered sweltering temperatures that often exceeded 40 degrees Celsius, humidity levels reaching as high as 90%, and torrential downpours that turned rivers into raging rapids. The air was thick with the cacophony of insects, birds, and animals, making every step feel like a battle against nature itself. Claudio Marquez, a seasoned Brazilian guide with over 2 decades of experience navigating these waters, had been handpicked by Hillary to lead the team through the treacherous terrain. With an intimate knowledge of the jungle's hidden dangers, Marquez was instrumental in planning their route and ensuring the team's safety. However, what seemed like a well-rehearsed plan began to unravel on July 14, as they forded the Rio Negro River. A sudden change in water levels caught them off guard, and the team's canoes were swept away by the swift current. Panic set in as they scrambled to regain control of their vessels. Hillary, ever the quick-thinking leader, assessed the situation and ordered his team to regroup on the riverbank. With Marquez's guidance, they reassembled their gear and devised a new plan to reach their next destination, the remote village of Santo Antonio do Ica. Little did they know that this fateful decision would set them on a course for disaster, alone in the heart of the Brazilian jungle's most unforgiving terrain. As the team ventured deeper into the unforgiving Brazilian jungle, they were met with relentless humidity and dense foliage that threatened to swallow them whole. Claudio Marquez, a seasoned explorer and one of the 6 men accompanying Edmund Hillary, began to grow increasingly uneasy about their progress. The group had been trekking for days, but it was clear that something was amiss. Their usually reliable maps and guides were failing them, leading to an accumulation of navigational errors that would ultimately prove disastrous. Claudio's concerns went unheeded by the expedition leader, who remained resolute in his mission to explore the remote regions of the Amazon. As they pushed forward, the team encountered increasingly treacherous terrain. The dense undergrowth and labyrinthine river systems made it nearly impossible to maintain a clear path, forcing them to rely on Claudio's sharp instincts and local knowledge to navigate the unforgiving landscape. Despite his reservations, Claudio continued to lead the group with unwavering dedication, often venturing ahead of the others to scout out safe passage. His efforts paid off on several occasions, as he expertly guided the team through treacherous rapids and hidden quicksand. However, on July 16, disaster struck when the team encountered a narrow, shallow river that proved more treacherous than anticipated. Claudio's advice to take a wider route was overruled by Hillary, who pressed on with his original plan despite growing dissent from within the group. As the expedition delved deeper into the Brazilian jungle, it became increasingly clear that something was amiss. The team's initial euphoria and sense of adventure began to give way to unease and frustration. Claudio Marquez, the team's translator, had been acting erratically from the start, but Edmund Hillary seemed to have trusted him implicitly. It wasn't until they were miles away from civilization that Marquez vanished into thin air. The remaining team members frantically searched for their missing comrade, but to no avail. The jungle seemed to swallow him whole, its dense foliage and labyrinthine paths a perfect facade for the horrors that lurked within. As the days turned into weeks, the team's morale began to crumble. They were lost in the unforgiving terrain with little food, water, or communication. The incident raises questions about the psychological toll of expeditions like these on participants. In the 1970s, when the expedition took place, mental health support was scarce, and the focus was primarily on the physical challenges. Hillary's team had been chosen for their expertise, but what about their emotional well-being? Did they receive adequate training or counseling to cope with the pressures of such a remote and hostile environment? The disappearance of Claudio Marquez also highlights the importance of situational awareness in wilderness expeditions. Had Hillary or his team members been more attentive to Marquez's behavior, might it have prevented his vanishing? The incident serves as a stark reminder that even the most experienced explorers are not immune to mistakes and misjudgments. The aftermath of the expedition was shrouded in mystery, with some reports suggesting that Marquez had been struggling with personal demons before joining the team. His disappearance would go on to become one of the jungle's darkest secrets, a cautionary tale for future adventurers venturing into the unforgiving heart of Brazil. As the team pushed deeper into the unforgiving Brazilian jungle, they encountered a seemingly endless array of obstacles. Days blended together in a blur of humidity and sweat, with each member struggling to keep up with Edmund Hillary's relentless pace. However, it was not until July 16 that a turning point began to take shape. That morning, Claudio Marquez, the team's resident botanist, discovered something peculiar: a small clearing surrounded by an unusual ring of fungi. This discovery sparked a heated debate among the team members about whether they should investigate further or press on with their mission. Hillary's enthusiasm for exploration often led him to prioritize discovery over caution. As tensions simmered beneath the surface, Claudio Marquez approached Hillary privately and expressed his concerns. He pointed out that their supplies were dwindling at an alarming rate, and the team was struggling to cope with the harsh environment. In a bold move, Claudio revealed that he had been secretly monitoring the team's food stores and estimated they would run out of non-perishable items within 2 days. Hillary, ever the risk-taker, refused to consider turning back or adjusting their course to accommodate their dwindling resources. He reassured Claudio that the expedition would find a way to overcome any obstacle as long as they worked together. However, this decision ultimately set in motion a series of events that would prove disastrous for the team's chances of survival. The team pressed on, unaware of the impending danger lurking just ahead. In hindsight, it is clear that Claudio Marquez's warning signs were ignored at great cost. As the expedition continued deeper into the jungle, they stumbled upon an area notorious among locals for its treacherous terrain and unpredictable weather patterns. Little did they know, their most daunting challenge was yet to come: a storm of biblical proportions that would test even the most seasoned adventurers to their limits. As the expedition ventured deeper into the unforgiving Brazilian jungle, Claudio Marquez found himself increasingly disconnected from his team. His obsession with an elusive species of jaguar had taken precedence over the well-being and safety of those